wrestler quit WWE because he couldn't afford to work for them. While big-name wrestlers can make a lot of
Wow.
money, less popular
You don't
wrestlers
expect that,
make
though.
nearly as much. Additionally, wrestlers have to pay
That's
for the
true, but you
majority of
don't.
their travel expenses, like the hotel
You
they
just don't
stay
expect
at,
to hear that because you're always...
use, the food they eat, and more. This can get really expensive. And a wrestler
And all that's true, but you know, you're always in there thinking you're going to make that next level. But I guess I could see it happening. This is from Tap Out Corner, you guys. Please make sure and support them all you can. This is insane but real WWE backstage stories. Now, you guys are more well versed on these backstage stuff than am I. I can tell that already. So it's really fascinating for me to see him, get to comment on them, and then hear, you know, read in the comment section you guys' take on everything, because a lot of times you have extra tidbits to add.
Super Crazy quit WWE.
Oh, it's Super
because of
Crazy.
it. Crazy lived in Mexico and was only getting paid $500 for each show he was on. Because of all the expenses and the amount he was earning, Super Crazy realized he couldn't afford to keep doing this.
I didn't know that's why he ended up out.
CM Punk tried to ban his own...
No kidding. I didn't know that. That kind of sucks, you know? And especially Super Crazy. I mean, he was huge in Mexico. He's one of the luchadors. And I remember when he came through the WWE, I thought they just dropped him. He, you know, lack of push, whatever, just didn't click. I didn't know it was because he couldn't afford to stay. That's actually too bad for him.
Own mother from attending WWE shows. In 2013, Punk revealed he had given his mom $100,000, but she threatened him once Punk stopped sending her money. One of the threats was to release potentially embarrassing information about her son, which CM Punk thought had to do with him getting arrested while in school.
Oh, that sucks. Your own mom? Ooh, you guys know I'm not a Punk fan per se, but you can't help but feel some empathy for him in that situation. Wow, I had no idea. Did you guys know about this? Wow, that sucks.
Punk filed a restraining order against his mom, which was granted. He also asked the court to
Holy
ban her
crap.
from WWE shows, but it wasn't revealed if the judge granted that request. Andre the Giant was once arrested.
Get out of here. I mean, I don't know all the details of what went on between Punk and his mom, but in any event, that just, that sucks.
In 1989, Andre was wrestling a match against
I didn't know that.
Warrior in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A local cameraman was there to film the show, but Andre told him not to record his match. The cameraman didn't, but for some reason, Andre thought he did. The Giant slapped the man and destroyed the camera. A police officer who was overseeing the event saw this and told Andre he was being arrested. Andre said no, so the officer explained it wasn't a big problem, and Andre would be released after posting bail.
Oh boy, can you imagine I gotta interrupt this. Can you imagine being the cop that's arresting Andre the Giant? Oh, would the cuffs even fit around his wrists? I'm thinking no.
The Giant complied, but he refused to be handcuffed.
I don't
the
think they
officer
could have.
obliged, and after booking the 8th wonder of the world, Andre was freed. The Giant ended up being fined $100 for criminal mischief and had to pay $233 for the camera he broke. A WWE fan learned the hard way.
No kidding. Why? It's unfortunate for the camera guy too. If he didn't even actually end up filming the match and still got a Andre slap from it. And typically you would think, somebody gets slapped and the officer did the right thing. Can't go around slapping people. But you would think a slap is a slap. When it comes from Andre, it could be a death knell. Jesus Christ, those hands.
Hard way not to ask Brock Lesnar for a picture. The morning before the WWE show, Lesnar was having breakfast at a hotel when a fan approached Brock and said he'd pay for Brock's meal and for Brock's security guard. Lesnar thanked the fan and ordered over $100 in food. After Lesnar finished, the fan asked if he could get a picture, and Brock's security said, "We appreciate the gesture, but we're not going to be doing anything today." Daniel Bryan stood up for himself and almost...
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I don't think, and this is from me as a fan, I don't think offering or going ahead and treating someone to a meal gives me that anything is necessary in return. I may have a different take on that. When the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame used to be in Amsterdam, New York. I worked in Amsterdam, New York. So, and being involved with wrestling and everything, I knew a lot of the guys as they would come through. I knew George Steele really well and a bunch of the others who worked with the hall a lot. And so when we would have, every year they would have the inductions, I would meet with the guys and we'd go have breakfast, and I'd always pick up the tab for breakfast. Now, I didn't think that entitled me to anything, nor would I think of saying, oh, hey, guys, I paid for your breakfast. Now can we do a little video clip for the channel or something like that? I wouldn't do that. Those are two separate issues. I picked up the tab because they're good guys who I admired and, like what they had done. If I want something more, to me, that's a whole separate issue. So I get it.
Almost got in trouble. Shortly after he made his WWE debut in 2010, Daniel Bryan was waiting at an airport for his flight. Ezekiel Jackson, another WWE wrestler,
Ezekiel, I haven't heard his name in a long time.
Daniel he was taking Daniel's seat on the plane because it was nicer than his. Normally, newcomers to WWE are supposed to give up their seats to veteran talent, but Daniel Bryan didn't. Bryan said he would have gladly given up his seat to Ezekiel Jackson, but since Jackson asked so rudely, Daniel wasn't going to. William Regal, a wrestling legend who was sitting nearby, stood up for Daniel Bryan and said to Ezekiel, "Do you even know who you're talking to? This man is like a son to me and has more talent in his little finger than you have in your entire body."
That sounds like Regal. Regal, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know that Regal's a real life badass. Regal can hook.
Jackson walked away, and Daniel Bryan still ended up giving a seat to someone else.
Wow. I didn't know any of these stories. Yeah, I don't know. See, I like, as far as hazing greeners with a few chops or something like that, I'm all for that. But I think it has limits. I mean, just in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. But I could see that going both ways, but the whole seat thing, come on.
In 1998, an 11-year-old kid asked Stone Cold Steve Austin what he thought of Goldberg. Here's what Austin said.
What do you think of Dylan Goldberg?
I think he's just fine at what he does, but he's done a pretty good job of copying me, but he doesn't talk very much. I have nothing personal against him. He's going to make it up too.
One WWE.
That's pretty good. He does a pretty good job of copying me. I hadn't heard that one before either. That's pretty good.
The wrestler made The Undertaker so angry that Taker was ready to fight him for real. The wrestler Mabel, also known as Viscera, was infamous for accidentally injuring his opponents.
Yeah,
he even broke The Undertaker's
this wasn't safe.
Bone in 1995. However, during the 1996 Royal Rumble match, Mabel hurt yet another wrestler. Undertaker became livid backstage and started taping his fists. Luckily, the dead man didn't resort to violence, but Mabel was fired shortly after this incident.
We all know about the legend of Undertaker taping his fists with the whole thing with Shawn Michaels and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I've told you guys that before. I just don't have a lot of respect for guys if they can't take care of the person they're in there with. That, to me, I was taught from day one, that's job one.
Seth Rollins once got in trouble for using an ice pack. Shortly after Rollins began wrestling on WWE's main roster, he had just finished a match and put an ice pack on his neck after he got backstage.
Okay, seems reasonable.
And asked Rollins how many matches Seth had wrestled on the main roster, to which Rollins said 3. The reason Cena asked this is because new WWE wrestlers aren't supposed to use ice packs. Likewise, Summer Rae also got called out by
didn't know that.
for icing her foot when she was new. The reason newcomers aren't supposed to use ice packs is that it's believed they shouldn't need them after only wrestling in WWE for a short while. In 19...
For real? I'd never heard that one before. In wrestling locker rooms, there's a lot of eccentricities across the business, whether you're at the very top or the very bottom. It's stuff that's known throughout the land. I had never heard that. It sounds to me, it just my take, it sounds to me more like a tongue-in-cheek type of rib type thing. Whereas if you got brought up in wrestler's court for that, you would get a goof type of punishment. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a bigger deal than I think it is. Typically, the big deal is lack of respect. There's when you, if you damage somebody else's property, certainly, or just in attitude, demeanor, or carelessness. Ice packs? No kidding.
Owen Hart pulled a legendary prank on Vince McMahon.
Oh, well, Owen was a legendary prankster.
Triple H fought Henry Godwin in a hog
I remember that one.
With real pigs. Before
I
the
remember
show,
that.
the pigs were being dropped off at the arena. The
Oh,
person delivering
jeez.
the pigs was wondering
Oh, jeez.
Owen Hart overheard this and had them put the pigs in Vince McMahon's office. When McMahon opened the door, one of the pigs came running out, and Vince instantly knew he'd been pranked by Owen.
That's classic Owen. Owen was, and again, a lot of you guys I'm sure know, Owen was a legendary prankster. So just seeing him, so tragic what happened to him, obviously.
Mark Henry once attacked a WWE crew member for looking at a female wrestler. AJ Lee was stretching backstage and was being stared at by a local WWE crew member. Mark Henry saw what the man was doing and lifted him up and pinned him against the wall. It's unknown what Henry did to the crew member, but AJ Lee became ecstatic over what Mark did for her. Randy Orton almost killed him.
If it was, what I know of Mark Henry, he seems like a good, perfectly square, straight shooting type of dude. I'm thinking if Mark Henry felt like he had to yoke him up, it was obvious and creepy. It wasn't just glancing at AJ Lee and, oh wow, she's hot and looking away. I'm going to trust Mark Henry on this one that he did the right thing.
Himself. In 2006, Randy Orton woke up in a hospital and wasn't sure why he was there. As it turned out, the Viper had overdosed on sleeping medication and passed out. Randy's wife found him and saw that Orton wasn't breathing. Randy Orton was then rushed to the hospital.
I knew he had issues with
his life. Before becoming a wrestler.
Substances. Oh no, I didn't know about that one. Damn, I am way out of the loop here. That's terrifying. I mean, I knew Randy's been fighting demons for quite some time, but I didn't know about that.
Legend, Booker T was a criminal. By age 13,
Booker did know that.
His parents. He started working at a Wendys restaurant to support himself and his siblings. Money was still an issue for Booker T, so he decided to rob the Wendys that he worked at.
Oh, I didn't know that's what he did, but I knew.
Ended up committing over 20 armed
robberies. I knew he was.
Wendys locations. Booker and his accomplices wore their Wendys uniforms during the robberies, so police eventually figured out that it was someone who worked at the restaurant who was committing
inside job.
Booker was arrested at the age of 22 and spent a little over a year and a half in prison.
Well,
As he was leaving the prison, a
didn't
police
know how long he was in.
Said, "I'll see you when you get back." Not only did Booker never go back to prison, but he also became a multi-time world champion.
Good for him.
A WWE Hall of Fame.
You love hearing stories in any field at all, about people who overcome. And I knew Booker had been in trouble as a youth. I've heard that talked about, but I didn't know specifics.
Shawn Michaels was paid $750,000 a year for 4 years to do basically nothing. At the 1998 Royal Rumble, Shawn Michaels injured his back and soon had to retire from wrestling. While he would make appearances on TV from time to time, Michaels was not used often in WWE. Former WWE commentator Jim Ross revealed that despite not doing much, WWE still paid HBK $750,000 a year.
Not bad.
They paid Shawn $750,000 a year
not a bad
for
paycheck.
About 4 years. Do nothing.
Part of the reason was that Vince McMahon valued Shawn Michaels so highly. The other reason was to prevent Shawn from joining WWE's competitor, WCW.
Oh,
this ended
okay.
up paying off for McMahon because in 2002, Shawn Michaels returned to the ring. Shawn wrestled for another 8 years and had some of the greatest WWE matches of all time.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Paying him to basically not defect. I mean, a lot of that is, as they said, just because Shawn was Vince's boy, but as they said, it worked out well, and that's understandable. Them doing that. It's not as bad as like in Major League Baseball, where Bobby Bonilla has been retired for 20-something years and still gets 1.1 million is it every year the Mets owe him?
Before joining WWE, Alundra Blaze, or Medusa, was homeless and living on the streets.
I did know that.
She also owed the IRS
I've met her a couple times.
However, Vince McMahon got in touch with Alundra and offered her a WWE contract. McMahon also asked her if there was anything else he could do for her. The future WWE Hall of Famer mentioned her debt, and the next day, Vince McMahon sent her a check for $80,000. The sad part is, about 2 years later, Alundra Blaze would join WWE's competitor, WCW, and drop the
I remember that. That's messed up.
Charlotte Flair's ex.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. The guy, like Vince or not, the guy did that for. Although, with what we're hearing about Vince now, who knows if there wasn't more that went on there than we know about above the board.
Sued her and her father, Ric Flair. Charlotte was married to a man named Ricky Johnson from 2010 to 2013. In 2017, Charlotte and Ric Flair released an autobiography called Second Nature. Charlotte revealed that she left Ricky Johnson because he allegedly abused her. Johnson then filed a lawsuit against his ex-wife and her dad, saying that the allegations made in the book weren't true. The legal battle ended with both parties settling out of court for an undisclosed amount of money.
Oh.
This is why John Cena...
Oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah, that's... If it didn't happen, or even if it was just exaggerated, that's... yeah, I wouldn't blame the guy if that was the case.
Cena has granted over 650 wishes.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's easy to say love the guy for this.
Just to make himself look good, but that's not true at all.
John Cena please.
Did not want to publicly share the wishes he was granting.
Not only that's asinine. 650? You don't need to do 650 for PR. You could do 20 for PR. And that's bullshit. The guy takes time out of his day and actually interacts. Nah. And people are gonna hate on that. Shut up.
Only agreed to after Vince McMahon told him that letting people know about the work Cena was doing would make them more inclined to get involved and support.
That's true too.
A WWE wrestler
but I say beyond that, you don't do 650 for attention. And besides, he's John Cena. He doesn't need more attention.
Kill Paul Heyman on live TV. Tommy Dreamer was the heart and soul of ECW, but during his time with the company, he turned down much better contracts with WWE. This was due in part to the owner of ECW, Paul Heyman, persuading Tommy to stay. When ECW went out of business in 2001, Dreamer was left without a job and forced to live with his parents. Dreamer also learned that Heyman had secretly been getting paid by WWE for years. Even worse, Tommy was told he was going to make his WWE debut at WrestleMania 17, but plans fell through. This put Dreamer in a very dark place, and he got a hold of a gun. His plan was to go to WrestleMania 17, jump the barricade, shoot Paul Heyman, who was doing commentary, and then turn the gun on himself. As he was contemplating all this, Tommy Dreamer got a call from a number he didn't recognize.
Shit!
He go to voicemail, and the recording said,
"What the hell?
Tommy, it's Jim Ross. Just want to let you know we are still thinking about you. We are gonna get it done. Just gotta hang tight. Thank you." This is all Dreamer needed to turn everything around.
Wow. I was just about to say, I got to say it anyway, no matter how punny it may be. Talk about dodging a bullet. Okay, let's just go right to the next one.
A WWE wrestler once went to jail for doing something pretty disgusting to a flight attendant. In
oh boy.
William Regal was flying from Tokyo to Detroit. While on the plane,
Regal, what'd you do?
The wrestling star took some pills and went to the bathroom. He didn't close the door all the way, so a female flight attendant came over. William Regal was already doing his business, so when he turned around to face her, he started peeing on the line.
Gross.
The flight made a stop in Anchorage, Alaska, and William Regal was thrown in jail. A teenager once...
Well, we don't know then if that was honestly... It certainly sounds like an act under the influence no matter what. I won't comment further because I don't know nothing.
Triple H and WWE. In 2011, an 18-year-old named Ralph Basham from Kentucky filed a lawsuit claiming he was injured while attending a WWE show in 2000. During the event, The Rock and Triple H were having a match and at one point started fighting amongst the crowd. According to the lawsuit, a woman got knocked over and landed on Basham, injuring his right knee.
Shit.
The teenager said the injury didn't allow him to compete in sports and affected his childhood. Since WWE refused to cover any expenses, this led to the 18-year-old suing the company, as well as The Rock and Triple H. The lawsuit went on for nearly 4 years until the teenager agreed to dismiss the case. While it's unknown, it's likely WWE and or Triple H and The Rock gave the teen some money in order to get them to let it go.
Yeah, you would think, and in that case, it's probably easier to pay him, even if you think you're in the right, because doesn't it state on the tickets, basically, that you do this at your own peril, I believe. Now, again, you can write anything on a ticket. Doesn't mean it's going to hold up in court. Just because something... Doesn't matter what they write on anything. If it's a violation of existing law, it's null and void. So, could have gone either way. But I'm thinking probably one of those cases where they just decided it was cheaper to just... Whoever paid him, it was just cheaper to give him something and just let it be done. That's what I'm thinking anyway. All right, this is fun. We'll do some more of this. I really like hearing this stuff. I didn't know basically any of these stories.